Hey Doc, thanks for staying alive and potentially saving humanity. Yeah, that's good stuff. Wondering about a couple things. Firstly, who won that childhood fight? You kind of let that just slide, so I'm thinking it's a big L.
Well, I can tell you because he was a tough little kid. See, I don't remember what happened, but my remembrance of him was that he pound me out pretty effectively. So, yeah. His name was Vernon Switchenook. Yeah, he was a good friend of mine, and I think Vernon still lives in Fairview. So if he hears of this, then maybe he'll remember that too, and so probably he would have won. I didn't win that many physical fights when I was a kid, so.
Okay, that's not the only question. So
okay.
Okay. Anyway, cool. I'm not sure if you've actually been asked this before. I've missed the last two lectures, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are on Tolkien, J.R. Tolkien, and his work, not just Lord of the Rings, but the Silmarillion, which is basically like I'm seeing all this and I'm thinking it's like the modern Bible in a way. It's got the weird names like Tubal Cain and all that stuff, and specifically when we were talking about Cain just now. And how he was, this thing's just moving, when he was talking about how he felt like betrayed by God, and he spent his whole life working to spite him essentially, and he kind of set the path forward for the darkness in humanity. That's almost exactly Melkor, which was in the Silmarillion, basically what spawned everything evil in Middle Earth and Mordor and whatnot. And I don't even know as much as some people, but go on.
Tolkien was a student of mythology, and the story of the Hobbit is a retelling of Beowulf in large part, and that's a dragon slaying myth, and so the reason that Tolkien and Rowling for that matter are so popular is because they've done a very good job of making the old myths new. And well, look what's happened with the Marvel series. It's the same thing, and with Star Wars and all of that, is that you can't not respond to these stories. Now, you're going to find them in one form or another, and sometimes, well, with the biblical stories, for example, the meaning of the mythological content has become invisible. That's partly the death of God that Nietzsche was referring to. But that doesn't mean that the stories themselves vanish because people have an eternal hunger for them. Now, the problem with them emerging in, let's say, more literary or less sophisticated form, let's take the Marvel movies as an example, is that they're not surrounded by an articulated culture the same way the biblical stories are. So, for example, they're not surrounded by something like Paradise Lost by John Milton, or Dante's Inferno, which are works of unlimited depth. And so you throw away something of great value and reacquire it in a different place with less value, perhaps, but more comprehensibility. It's not a great trade. That is not a critique of Tolkien. It's not a critique of anybody who's drawing on mythological stories for their narratives. You have to do that to be a good storyteller, but it's nice to go as close to the source as you can as well. So, yeah. And the overlaps that you describe, well, yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect, because if you deal with great mythological themes, you start to get... The archetypes are at the bottom of stories. And so if the story goes down far enough, it runs into the archetypes. And that was Jung's claim, and I think he got that exactly right. So, yep.
Thank you.